I never knew betrayal could feel this warm. That moment I said I do. My lips were still swollen from kissing his brother. I wore white, but I was anything but pure. They say guilt shows in your eyes, but no one noticed mine was glassy because I had cried in his brother's car just hours before the ceremony. He begged me not to go through with the wedding. I told him it was too late, but I left something in his glove compartment. A letter I never meant for anyone else to see. That night while I was in our bridal suite pretending to love the man I had just married, he was downstairs, reading it. The groom. My husband. My mistake. The morning of my wedding I should have felt like a princess. But I felt like a criminal. I sat in front of the mirror while my mother zipped up the white satin dress that I once dreamed about wearing. Everyone said I was glowing, that I looked breathtaking. But the truth was I hadn't slept. Not a wink. Not after the night I had. Not after the kiss I shared with Ethan, my fiancé's older brother. It wasn't supposed to happen. It never was. But forbidden things have a way of finding their moment in the quiet, in the dark, in the spaces no one else sees. We were sitting in his car behind the church, the night before the wedding. It had rained. The windows were foggy, the air thick with words we couldn't say. "I'm sorry," I whispered, tracing the edge of his jaw. "But I have to marry him. I can't destroy this family." Ethan's hands trembled as he held my face. His eyes searched mine like he was begging me to choose him. "You don't love him, Emery. Not like you love me. Please don't do this." I cried in his arms. I kissed him. I told him I loved him more than anything. And I left. What I didn't know was that I had dropped something, a small folded piece of notebook paper I had kept hidden in my purse for weeks. A letter I wrote to Ethan when we first realized what we were doing wasn't just wrong, it was irreversible. I forgot it in the rush. Now, hours later, I stood at the altar with his brother, my fiancé, Jared, watching Ethan beside him as best man. His jaw clenched, his fists tight, but his eyes were ruined. Broken. He knew. He must have read it. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run. But instead I smiled for the pictures. I kissed Jared when the priest told us to. I posed with flowers, cut cake, and danced with strangers while my heart was still tangled in Ethan's hands. Later that night, in the bridal suite, Jared sat on the edge of the bed while I undressed behind the bathroom door. "Emery," he said, voice low, "why didn't you tell me?" My heart stopped. I opened the door slowly. "Tell you what?" He held up the letter, crumpled, tear-stained and deadly. I wasn't even looking for anything. Ethan left it on the passenger seat of his car. I thought it was a note from Mom. Until I saw your name. And your handwriting. I stared at it like it was a weapon. Because it was. He stood. Walked over to me. Placed it gently in my hands like it was sacred. "Tell me the truth. Did you sleep with my brother?" Silence. In that moment I had two choices: lie, and destroy what little soul I had left. Or tell the truth, and watch everything fall apart. I took a deep breath. And whispered, "Yes." Jared didn't flinch. He didn't scream. He didn't throw anything. He just smiled. A broken, terrifying smile. "Then I guess we're not spending our wedding night together after all." He turned, picked up his keys and walked out. That was the last time I saw him as my husband. The silence after Jared left that night was louder than any scream. I stood there, barefoot, in my silk nightgown, my wedding dress puddled on the floor like a lie I could no longer carry. The letter trembled in my hands. My confession still echoed off the hotel walls. "Yes, I slept with your brother." I didn't cry. Not then. I just sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the door, half expecting him to come back. Slam it open, say something, anything. But he didn't. Instead I got a text. From Ethan. "He knows." I replied him. "Did you tell him?" He said nothing. For hours. And when the sun started rising and I was still sitting there, half numb and ashamed, he finally wrote back. No, he found the letter. That's when it hit me. Ethan didn't betray me. I betrayed them both. The next morning I went back to our apartment alone. Jared was gone. His closet emptied. No note.
No voicemail.
Just silence. For 2 days I waited. On the third day I got served. Annulment papers. No message. No warning. Just a cold, clean severing of what was supposed to be forever. And the part that shattered me most? He filed on the grounds of fraud. Not adultery. Not abandonment. But fraud. Like I was some con artist who faked her way into love. Like our 2-year relationship was a scam. Like I was never real. I wanted to talk to him, to explain, to say it wasn't planned, that I never meant to fall for Ethan. But would it even matter? So instead I drove to Ethan's place. He opened the door looking like hell, dark circles, stubble, eyes that had seen too much. He didn't smile. He didn't reach for me. He just said, "You shouldn't be here." I didn't know he'd read it, I said. I didn't mean to leave it there. But you wrote it. He had a point. One that punched me right in the chest.
I'm sorry, he whispered.
I'm not, he said. I loved you. I still do. But we ruined him, Emery. We ruined everything. I started crying. Not just because of the guilt, but because part of me still wanted him to say, "Come inside. Stay. We can fix this." But he didn't. He stepped back and closed the door. And I was alone again. Not married. Not forgiven. Not even wanted. Just ruined. 3 months passed. I didn't speak to Jared. I didn't hear from Ethan. I moved back in with my mom and returned my wedding gifts one by one, each refund like a punch to the chest. The only thing I kept was a handwritten note from Ethan tucked in a book he once gave me. "If loving you was a mistake, I will make it very lifetime." The pain didn't fade, it calcified. Every day felt like punishment. Not just for the affair, but for lying to myself. For choosing safety over passion. For confusing guilt with love. One rainy afternoon I got an email from Jared. Subject: "You owe me nothing, but I need to say this. I'm not writing to forgive you. Not yet, maybe not ever. But I need you to know something. I spent years believing I was your safe place. Your calm. Your future. But what I didn't realize was, I was never your heart. You gave that to Ethan before you ever said yes to me. And as much as that destroyed me, I don't hate you anymore. I just hope you stop running from the truth. You are not a bad person, Emery. But you were never mine to keep." I read it over and over, and for the first time in months I allowed myself to cry. Really cry. 'Cause Jared was right. I had spent so long trying to be what everyone expected: a perfect wife, a loyal partner, a good woman. But I had betrayed all three because I couldn't admit one simple, messy truth. I loved Ethan. Not in a reckless, flirty fantasy way, but in the way that wakes you up at night missing someone's breath on your shoulder. In the way that makes you want to pause time when they laugh. In the way that makes you write letters you never send but always mean. And so I drove to him. Again. This time no letter.
No excuses. No lipstick.
Just the truth. He opened the door. He looked older. Sadder. Tired. "I wasn't sure you'd come," he said. "I wasn't sure I deserved to." He stepped aside, letting me in without a word. I sat down on his couch. The same couch we used to sit on when Jared was at work, and we'd pretend we weren't falling in love. "I don't expect anything," I said. "I just need you to know. I'm not running anymore." Ethan looked at me for a long time like he was measuring if the risk was still worth it. "I never stopped loving you," he said. "Even after everything." Tears welled in my eyes. "Do you hate me for what we did?" "No," he whispered. "I hate that we tried to bury it like it didn't matter." We sat there in silence, the kind that feels heavier than any words. And then, for the first time since the wedding, he reached for my hand. It wasn't fiery. It wasn't lustful. It was honest. And for the first time in a long time, that was enough. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Now I want to hear your voice. Tell us, would you forgive or walk away? Tap like if this story touched you. Share it with someone who believes in forbidden love. And subscribe for more real, raw, emotional stories every week.